if you want to find peace with yourself, self-understanding, self-knowledge, self-esteem, all of these things are going to be found only through sacrifice, getting uncomfortable, reevaluating what your normal is, and putting yourself in situations that you don't want to fucking do.
Yes, and we want it very fast. If you don't see results in the first 2 days or the first week, I'm done. That's the mentality of most people. The struggle is too real. We're not patient. We, like, in a world where you can Google the best restaurants around me right now, no one is patient. And for you to lose weight, for you to stop drinking, whatever the hell you're going through, it takes a lot of patience, a lot of time, and a lot of pitfalls, a lot of plateaus. You're gonna hit so many fucking plateaus. If you don't know how to get around that plateau, it's not gonna happen fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody wants the hack.
Yeah, everybody wants the hack. There is no hack, man. There's no hack.
What do you think is the biggest stumbling block that most people face with this kind of journey?
Honestly, is they have the woe is me mentality. It's too hard. Life isn't fair. These things in life are not easy for me. You look to your left and you look to your right and you start to judge yourself off other people. Like, if you're a female, well, she's skinny and she doesn't work out as hard as I do, and everything starts to corrupt your mind. You start to look around too much at other people and what they're doing, and that starts to corrupt your own dialogue. We are judging ourselves against too many fucking people. You have to judge yourself against yourself. And that's the one thing I started learning, man. This isn't a race against me and Rich Roll. This is a race against David Goggins and David Goggins alone. And once you can silence all that bullshit, all the outside interference and things that are attracting your mind to everything, you can then start to grow and realizing, I'm stressed out for no reason. This is my own little race. This is my own timeline, and this is how I'm going to run it.
I think that so many people are so disconnected from themselves. They're operating on autopilot. They're reacting to their environment, that even when given the opportunity to set a goal for themselves, they generally don't set the right goal.
Right.
Because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Because they don't even know who they are fundamentally.
That's the big thing, man. And that's why it was important for me to finally realize, stop being all these fake people I used to be. Stop being afraid. There was no growth until I cut myself down to nothing, to the person I really was, the real human being. And once I found out who I really was, that's when I started growing. I was trying to build on top of a lied, fucked up foundation. You can't build a house on a fucked up foundation. So I had to get down to the actual mineral soil of who I was, and that's when you can start real growth.
And what is the role that suffering plays in that, or the willingness to suffer?
It starts to peel all those layers away, all those artificial layers away. If you're willing to suffer and go back in the grind, that internal dialogue you have with yourself when you're in misery and you're uncomfortable, it's a real, scary, unfiltered, no lying dialogue between you and yourself. And people know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about when you're in a bad spot in life and your mind is saying all kind of shit. That's who you really are. That's the real you. No Rocky Balboa moments going on up there. Yeah. You're like, hey, you know, it's round 14. Let's come on. We got this. No, it's like, fuck this. I'm out of here, man. This is crazy. That's where the growth happens. When you're able to stay in that moment and talk yourself back into the suck of wherever you're going through, and you start stripping those layers away. But as you're stripping those layers away, you're building calluses over top of shit in your mind. That's where the growth starts to happen, is when you have to force yourself to stay in it. You can't leave it.
Ultras are such a great vehicle for self-exploration, and 100%. That's why you see all of these cultures over the millennia that you talk about in your book, who use running as a means of self-exploration and a path to enlightenment, because you can't bullshit yourself. When you're it strips you down to who you are, and you are confronted with the truth of yourself and your reality, and you're forced to wrestle with that in a way where there's no escape hatch.
No. Like that first 100-mile race I've talked about several times, where I lost all
Yeah.
Everything.
Still the hardest physical thing you've ever done, right?
Yes, physically and mentally, because like you just said, I was unprepared for that race.
No training. You should just recap it. Like zero training, running 100 miles so that you could impress Chris Kosman.
To get in the bad water, pretty much, right? It wasn't about impressing that guy by any means.
Well, you needed him to sign off.
I needed to sign off on it. And it was like 3 days later, I'm in a 100-mile race, no training at all. And when you do that, it is stupid. But what it does, if you're not going to quit it, like you just talked about, it breaks you down to nothing. You are suffering so badly mentally and physically that all of these demons are coming up. And you're trying to find answers, and you're trying to find answers. It was like living 19 hours. It's like 5 years I put into 19 hours of highs and lows and pitfalls and seeing the sun come up. And it was like, my God, I lived 5 years in 19 hours. It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable.
So do you find yourself chasing that now with every ultra challenge?
No, because once you realize what you get from ultra, what you get from life, I can apply that now just by sitting here with you. You know, those tools now, I don't need to go out, even though I still do it, and go out and hammer. The hammering part is like, it's like a purging of the soul. And you go out there and hammer out there.
Yeah, you got to do that every once in a while.
You got to hammer, man. You got to get after it. But now I figured out so many different ways and so many different tools through all of the journeys I've been through just growing up, man. Just being mature, just being really mature, and not holding on to hate. Really just letting all that shit go, man, and starting from scratch, and let's go forward.
How do you let it go?
I don't think enough about people that have wronged me, or situations that have wronged me, because once you've come to a place where you are really happy with who you are in life, no one fucks with you anymore. Even though they're fucking with you,
it doesn't fuck with you.
It doesn't fuck with you. Like all these, I used to be so hurt by everything in the military, and if someone did something or said something, like, man, I have overcome so much shit. There's not, I'm just in a really good headspace right now. My headspace, I own it. A lot of people own other people's headspace. I own my own shit now.
What do you mean own other? Like they're just all caught up in what other people think about them and running all these narratives in their mind.
That's right. They're more caught up in what other people think about them than how you feel about your own personal self. So a lot of people have their brain and their mind on rent to a whole bunch of motherfuckers in the world. I am paying rent on my own shit. I finally put a down payment on it, and I'm making payments every daggone day on my own fucking brain. So you don't fucking control that shit anymore, man. I got it.